من التساؤلات. We turn now to Mr. Kris Ntonopoulos, CEO of lekela Power. So please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here this morning to tell you about how an international investor is looking into renewable power in Egypt. And I have brought a little presentation with me. First of all, let me thank the organizers for inviting me here. I'm really excited to speak in front of you. So many invitees that have followed and have come here. It appears clearly that this topic is of clear importance to the Egyptian people. Now, my thesis for tomorrow, my thesis for today, and my question is, has the golden age of renewable power arrived in Egypt? And this is a question mark. And this is what I'd like to discuss with you in the next five minutes. And believe me, to have an investment climate is very similar to making a tasty meal for your guests. What you need is first some basic ingredients. You need to spice it up with a little bit more food, and at the end of the day, some delicious spices. Now, what does it mean for our industry, for the renewable industry? The basics, are they there? The basics are typically political stability, and clearly that have been clear signs that political stability is improving here. And it shows by both investors like ourselves, but also international lenders willing to invest huge amounts of capital into Egypt. Second is to have a appealing legislation. And here clearly the government has focused on coming up with a stable and attractive environment for investors. And they are still working on it. It's still not completely done. We're talking here about the investment law, we're talking about the VAT law, we're talking about other procedures that should facilitate the investment, but there is a clear way forward to simplify, to streamline the conditions in order to facilitate investment in Egypt. And last but not least, on the basic ingredients is the economic environment. And clearly we have seen that, that a lot of, in the conference in Sharm el-Sheikh, but also thereafter, seen that a lot of investment is flowing into Egypt. And maybe you have seen in the last week in the Financial Times, there was actually a quote, and it was saying that Egypt is leading the investments in Africa with 18 billion pounds, and which corresponds to a 42% raise over the last year. So clearly the government and the constitutions here are walking the talk, are moving forward, are making sure that investments can be done in Egypt. Now, once you have the basic ingredients, then the next item is about the commitment of the government and also the institutions, the key stakeholders to move ahead. And clearly, it starts with ambitious but achievable targets. And we think that the target for 6,000 megawatts over the next couple of years in renewable energy are ambitious but also achievable. And reaching a 20% mix from renewables is really world-class. Bankable key contracts, that's a very important thing. Clearly there, Andrea, EETC, and the other institutions have done a great work together with legal support to come up with documents which are really attractive to both investors and lenders. The government is behind it by supporting the obligations of the power of taker, and of course things like land allocation, we heard from Dr. Alsobki, grid connections, and so on, are being provided to the lenders as they come. So now what remains to be seen is really walking the talk, moving forward and making sure that these projects are being implemented. Next one, and here you are really blessed, that is to have the real conditions to implement renewable power. And clearly Egypt is one of the best located countries when it comes to wind and solar. You have consistent, strong winds in the Gulf of Suez, which makes turbines run for long with capacity factors over 50%, which is really world class. You have strong winds, steady winds coming. In addition to that, the renewable power industry has made a lot of strides, has developed a lot, has become a mature, reliable, and safe industry. And clearly, we see that it will be extremely important for this industry to play a critical role in Egypt. And this is why there are certain key advantages that you see here on the list. So cost competitiveness. We have seen that in the bids that recently went in for Gabal El Said wind project, 250 megawatts, where the government and ETC received offers lower than 4 cents per kilowatt hour. And ladies and gentlemen, this is world class. There's no other country which has these commercial tariffs in the world. But in addition to that, you have a fast construction period. Within 1 to 2 years, you have renewable power installed. Now they are highly reliable, high availability, low maintenance, zero fuel cost. You don't have to export any foreign currency by importing fuels. And of course, environmentally friendly and sustainable. Now, so as a conclusion, one can say clearly the ingredients are here. The ingredients are here for Egypt to succeed in renewable power, implementing the renewable power, and implementing it in a very attractive way for Egypt, not only getting competitive power, but as mentioned before, having, by introducing such a large program, enticing both investors but also suppliers to be here, to become local, to create value added in Egypt, and in particular, not only about low-level employment, but semi-skilled and skilled employment. As it was mentioned before, maybe this will be also a base not only for Egypt, but also for export later. So, and this is why, lekela, we see Egypt as a key country to our success. This is the reason why we have applied also under the FIT scheme, the feed-in tariff scheme, for a solar and a wind project, and we have just completed the application. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it today to sign it, but everything is done, and we hope very, very soon with Dr. Alsobki we can sign our documents as well. We have also submitted, as some of you know, a very competitive, not the most competitive tariff for Gabal El Said. We're waiting there that the government and the ETC will soon make the announcements. But this is not the beginning for us. It's a long journey that we would like to be in Egypt doing even more renewable power in this country, because as I mentioned to you, the ingredients are here as far as we are concerned. Now, what are we standing for? Just a few words. Lekela is a combination of Actis, which is a $7.5 billion investment firm, private equity firm, who has done more than $500 million of investments here in Egypt, 6 different projects over the last 10 years. So we've been here also during the more difficult times that Egypt has gone through. And the other partner or shareholder is Mainstream Renewable Power, who has over 16 gigawatts in development, construction, operation. So I think we have the necessary ingredients, the necessary know-how in Egypt, but also in the development of renewable powers to be successful. And that's why our credo and the name lekela actually means together. Working together with all the stakeholders to provide renewable, sustainable renewable power and maximize and optimize the value added that is created in the local environment, and this on a clean, long-term, sustainable basis. Thank you very much.